trigger happy and I give less than a fuck. Love me or hate me, I'ma show enough, rip shit up. It's Mr. Nothing, nice on a mic stand. Mic in the left and the zest in my right hand. I took a puff, had enough now, hold up. If that was Indo, niggas getting rolled up.
What's going on, folks? This is Aster. So I'm going to talk about a topic off topic from music, and that has to do with movies. It's about the concept of like COVID and movies. So yeah, I would say movies nowadays, there may still be like a couple left that were made before COVID happened in early 2020, but I'm kind of wondering now that it's almost 2023, why there haven't been movies that have actually had to do with the pandemic, as in like being mentioned in movies. Like, you don't see people wearing masks or even remotely acting like COVID happened. And I kind of feel like Hollywood has kind of become almost like this fictional pseudo reality or alternate reality of life where COVID just doesn't exist and people aren't dying regularly of not getting vaccinated and stuff like that. So you would think, I mean, I know it's kind of limiting. It seems like the reality that's kind of about right now makes it kind of limiting in the sense that you can't really have things. But yeah, just look at a few examples. Like if The Dark Knight from 2008 would have had COVID times during it, I wonder if Joker would have gotten COVID. That would have been a completely manic atmosphere for the Heath Ledger Joker to have terrorized Gotham City during a pandemic on top of that. I don't know if Joker would have gotten COVID. I just wonder what that character, the Joker, would have thought towards a raging pandemic that's infecting people and killing them. Do I think Joker wouldn't have been evil still? Do I think he probably wouldn't have? I don't think he would have cared. That would be brilliant to wonder how, especially like the Heath Ledger Joker, would have reacted to the pandemic times. I mean, I understand that it's not really a concept to kind of have in passing glance, but as this, when folks say this is kind of our new normal, it kind of reaches a concept where you'd have to look at it and be able to say that if it's the new normal, then that also needs to be taken to like movies also. I think it could be an extra reality, almost seeing Batman swoop in with like a surgical mask on or something like that. Just something to consider. But here's a couple other ones that'd be interesting. I would also wonder what it would be like for like Happy Gilmore to have had COVID times. Adam Sandler getting pissed off probably would have made that movie a lot more difficult, trying to have like a golf tournament. I mean, I could stretch out some of these scenes to kind of showcase it, but just to kind of wonder like what a movie like Happy Gilmore would have been during COVID times. But just to kind of wonder like what a movie like Happy Gilmore would have been during COVID times. Sandler probably would have pissed off Adam Sandler pretty badly, I'd have to guess. If he was already pissed off because he hated golf and he preferred hockey, I could imagine that he'd be even more mad having to wear a mask and just the fact of what was going on. That would be an interesting one. An Adam Sandler movie in COVID times, I think, would be very interesting. And then also like a movie like Ocean's 11. Like, honestly, I think those movies are about like robbing banks and stuff, but I would kind of almost wonder if that would be easier to do, especially back in 2020, some of that type concept, just being able to say where everything's shut down and everything used to close at like 6 o'clock p.m. That's like perfect fodder to say that sort of stuff in an Ocean's 11 type of environment and such. That's just kind of the concept there. I mean, it's not to the degree that I want like the pandemic to ravenously take care. The answer is no, I don't think that the pandemic should ravenously take over Hollywood where every single action and suspenseful and drama film has to be about the pandemic. But now that things are kind of in like the new normal territory, it would be interesting to kind of see the occasional movie, it recognize reality that this is what we deal with, because quite a bit of the planet is dealing with this yet and still, and that's the concept. But I would also kind of say I would prefer it more in like a PG-13 comedy sense. Those are the ones I would be there for more, just like someone like Adam Sandler or Rob Schneider or Chris Rock, kind of like a movie like The Animal or Happy Gilmore or something, kind of doing like a typical comedy romp where you get the girl at the end of the film and that type stuff, and it just has a bunch of jokes in there, but then the pandemic kind of happens on top of that. I mean, I can see the archetypes in the film as to how the pandemic would be set up, where the hero would get it at the end when he breaks up with his girlfriend or almost loses her or something like that. But I still think it would be interesting as long as like the script directors could weave it correctly and not make it kind of predictable in that sort of sense. It'd be interesting to see what they could kind of come up with, because this is kind of approaching like the new normal nowadays. It's been 3 years now, almost 4.